Good evening. I'm Jerry McIntosh, and this is Our Voices, the People's Media. Tonight, we're going to address some of the issues that are going on in this nation and this state and locally. We have with us a great guest, and I'm going to let Derek introduce him. But first, we'll go to our host, Mr. Vernon Watson, who who is it where you watch this station or why you watching the show at on WBQP TV, Roku, Fire Stick, YouTube, and of course Facebook on all of our Facebook pages and on our website. Also, Mr. Jill Daggs, who is chair of the Okaloosa County Democrat Party. Derek Scott, who is the chair of the Escambia County Democrat Party. We have Mr. Bill Snow, who is the author of the great book From the Project to the Boardroom. And Derek, I'm going to let you introduce our guests tonight.
Okay, well, good evening, everyone. We thank you for tuning in this weekend and joining us for another edition of Our Voices. Tonight we are fortunate to continue in our series of exposing you to the candidates that are running throughout the state of Florida as well as Northwest Florida. We are privileged to have with us Mr. Ron Helms this evening. Ron is running for the office of the Board of County Commissioners to represent Escambia County in District 4. So we are thankful to have Ron with us, and I will turn it over to you, Ron, if you don't mind just sharing a little bit about yourself and your campaign.
Well, good evening, and thank you so much for the privilege of being on your show and being able to speak to your audience directly. My campaign is a very interesting one as it is maturing into the levels of working toward the election. I'm running as a military veteran, ordained clergy, and a local business owner. I happen to own Oodles Antiques at the moment, and that is one of the premier antique malls on the west side of Pensacola. We do a wonderful business there and invite all of you to come in and have the experience of looking at the past, what grandma had, what you might want, and all kinds of interesting things. But I pastored for many years in the state of Virginia, of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and Rochester, New York. Rochester was my longest pastorate prior to moving to Pensacola to retire. And when I arrived in Pensacola, the first thing I gave up was my snow shovel. And but boy, what a difference it has been. I lived here now for almost 20 years and live in a community that is not getting its fair share, and that bothers me. So that's a little about me, Derek.
All right, thank you for that. I guess we'll start off with a couple of questions, and I'll leave that off for us. Why are you running specifically for the Board of County Commissioners to represent District 4, and what is your vision as you see it for a better Escambia County?
Well, as I say in all my campaign materials, and is actually what I mean, is that I am running to be the people's voice. I'm sure you've heard that many years throughout your life if you've been involved in politics. But I believe in actually showing up, doing the work, representing the concerns of the citizens, and trying to build consensus among the Board of County Commissioners. I can tell you that my run for this seat is not easy because I happen to be a Democrat. And it did not take long for most of the county commissioners currently serving to remind me of that is a Republican seat and always has been and always will be. My hope is to change that. But there are three issues that I am really wanting to work extremely hard on, in addition to the everyday issues that constituents might have. I used to have the first issue as my third, but it has changed in a short period of time. The first issue is affordable housing. It is amazing to me, and it was amazing to me years ago in this county when I served on the Human Relations Commission, to know that housing was in a tremendous disparity, and there's just not enough. And a lot of people say that there's enough, but some of you would not live in some of the affordable housing that has been around for a very long time. And as I say that, I'm going to be a little more open with you and tell you that we have a lot of slumlords in Escambia County. And we need legislation that will put teeth into landlord-tenant responsibilities. We need to have that collegial relationship with other counties and with our state delegation. There is no reason in this day and time that people are not in a house that they enjoy calling it their home. My second thing that I'm running on is better use of tax dollars. That's a very boring statement, but what it really means for me is I'm a fiscal conservative. I like to look at the numbers. I like to share my insights, and I like people to ask questions so I can go find the answers, even before being elected. We have a very complex budget, and I think it's designed that way on purpose. Just like trying to find something on the county website is no easy task. But I plan to look at every penny we spend, where it's going, where it's coming from, and maybe make some strong recommendations to my colleagues on the commission that there are some changes that need to be made. And that's beyond the budgeting process. You know, we make changes all the time to the county budget, which is really a side issue of why I'm running for county commission, is I'm sick of all the lawsuits. We're spending your money and my money on very, very expensive litigation, and the county cannot win. And I can't tell you when the last time they won a case that involved the Board of County Commissioners. So that means we've got some work to do. We need to be responsible, be strong on ethics, and hold one another accountable to that. I have some worrying days ahead if we don't get a grasp on the true ethics of the current Board of County Commissioners. And so I think, you know, all those would be great things to accomplish. My one other item that I think is very pressing as well is gun violence. It kills me to know that we have 14-year-olds in Escambia County shooting their own brothers and sisters, or somebody that they're mad at, or that we have adults with guns that don't know how to use them and they leave them for their kids to have access to. Not necessarily because they want them to get the gun and do anything, but because maybe there's not a gun safety course that they've had that would encourage them to lock their guns up or put gun locks on them, and be responsible parents if you have guns in your houses. You know, and as Democrats, at every forum we've already had, I get challenged on my support for the Second Amendment. And I strongly support the Second Amendment, but I've owned guns most of my life, and I'm a responsible gun owner. So I think that we can do better, and we have to, for our kids' sake.
On your second point, Brother Ron, and the current Board of Commissions, where are they lacking ethically that you say that we've got to get a hold on that?
Well, if you look at the EMS system, If you look at the former medical examiner case, it's still ongoing. If you look at any of the current lawsuits or recently settled lawsuits, they did vote, I think, to settle the one just the last meeting or two with the former medical examiner. You know, when we see problems as commissioners, county staff need to be on full alert that it is time to prevent the fire from becoming a raging storm. We just ignore the issue sometimes, or we like to play politics and support everybody on the dais, whatever they want to do. And that gets us in trouble ethically, from my perspective. It would take 3 or 4 shows probably to go through what I see to be a pattern of ethical issues. And listen, they're not alone. The Pensacola City Council faces the same challenge. And probably, certainly the state does too. But I just think we need to acknowledge the challenge. We need to set a plan for how we're going to respond and be held accountable to, versus having to settle lawsuits again that we can't justify and we can't win.
So you know, I know you say you was a physical conservative. I think I'm saying it right.
Yes, sir.
So can you kind of explain that again to me?
Sure.
When people go to talking about conservative, you know,
we get nervous, don't we, Jerry?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, part of use of that term is my strategy for getting elected in this county. Being a fiscal conservative means we don't need to spend any more money than necessary in a particular situation. And that really results in using taxpayer dollars wisely. That also means, you know, I mean, they just settled a $5 million lawsuit, Jerry. That doesn't count any of the attorney's fees and all of that that the county attorney is incurring. There is just a perspective I have that I want to see where every penny comes from compared to the revenue we have coming in, on what my constituents say is important to them, that it gets funding. And we got to have some balance instead of all Republican priorities.
Mm.
You know, Jerry, I'll jump ahead and just tell you, it's very highly disappointing to me that we didn't have a table from the county commission at your recent banquet, that we didn't have a table of city officials at the table to represent the city, to organizations that are doing very hard work and that are underrepresented. If you want to respond to an unjust, you got to do just things. And that might mean having to fund some programs, more money for communities to do what needs to get done, instead of commissioners' pet projects.
I agree with that. We definitely need to have everybody at the table, county commissioners, whether it's city council people, whoever they may be, to support what we pay taxes for. I mean, you know, it seems, you know, they go everywhere else, but when it comes to the African American community, it seems they have you know, what you call it, they forget, in other words, amnesia. They have amnesia when it comes to the issues of the Black community. And
well, let me give you one more example, if I may. If you take a look at the current Escambia Pensacola Human Relations Commission, I don't see any white representatives from the county commission on that board. Now, thankfully, it is chaired by Commissioner Lemon May, who does a terrific job on that board. But it is work to keep funding for that organization. It's work for anything that is programmatic, constituent oriented, non-Republican, to even get on the table, much less to get a decision that fully supports what's needed for the community.
Bill, you got it?
I didn't.
Okay. So what are your top priorities if you get elected?
Well, if I get elected, the one thing that I plan to spend the most time on initially is affordable housing because it's becoming a crisis. It already is. I mean, we have families moving back with their parents or their grandparents because they cannot afford the insurance on their home, even if they can afford home ownership. That's a travesty to me. We need to work with our state delegation to, again, try to deal with the Republican governor who can understand some of the pain of people having to go through changing their life because insurance regulations are so difficult and they're pushing them right out of their own house. And, you know, I say that about new homeowners. I say it about our seniors. I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. Um, I, there's all kinds of injustices that I see that's going on. I think, you know, one of my priorities, in addition, is to support organizations like the many that you represent. I am a Democrat. I'm a part of the Escambia Democratic Party. I certainly want to support any avenue, whether it's sponsorship or board, be it serving on a board or any way I can that constituents, especially underrepresented communities, think it might help.
While we're right there, Ron, I want to say hats off to you, man, because I do see you at our events, the MLK parades. I see you being active in our communities, and that is so important. I greatly appreciate you on that, man. I really do, because you didn't just. A lot of people are coming around and being a part of those events just because of their stand and them wanting to run, you know, for a political office. But you have been active in our communities as long as I have, and I've been 7-8 years running with Pensacola Movement for Change, and you're a regular face, and that's a big hats off to you in that department.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You know, but I don't do enough. I hope every person who sees issues on the ground would join me in figuring it out. But we have some problems to work on internally as well. I'll just be very open with you. Wasn't one of the questions on my ones I expected to answer today, but the Democratic Party is split in Escambia County. I don't know if it's a jagged split. I don't know if it's an even split. And it's one that I don't know all the details on. And trust me, I try to stay out of it. But we need to get our house in order. And I think there are good people that are working on that. There are also other people that push back on that. And we have to come together. Otherwise, we won't accomplish anything in the big picture. The big picture relies on us to be grounded in what we believe and do what we say. And I'm sorry that's not the case in our county right now.
Yeah, I got another question. You said that the Republicans told you that seat is theirs and it belonged to them. Is that the rank and file people telling you that, or just the people that's running
Well,
for in the office in the leadership?
I don't want to call Commissioner out, so at this point, but I want the commissioner knows I plan to win in November, and he can maintain his opinion, but he needs to make sure he doesn't get in my way of doing what we need to do to get elected, of hearing the voices of people on the ground and listening and responding and being a person of your word. I don't have time for internal politics. I'm sure I'm not their favorite candidate, but we're going to see. And of course, you might know this is only a 2-year election. Commissioner Robert Bender was selected by the governor to be the supervisor of elections for the county. So someone has to be elected for the remaining 2 years of his term, and then all future terms will be 4 years. So it's a very short time to get anything done, but I'm hoping that we can work together and get some things accomplished.
Jill, you asked a question.
Not being an insider, well, not being favored by insiders already. Oh, did you say GL? Okay, go ahead, GL. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You already started. I'll go after you. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, not being an inside favorite, especially for the ones already holding office, is I think as far as the constituency is concerned, is a good thing, Ron.
Well, thank you.
Ron, we got a question on Facebook. The question that people are asking. So if you could just share your geographic boundaries, what areas constitute District 4 or Escambia County, so people will know?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Let's begin downtown at the waterfront of 9th Avenue. There's just a couple of houses that's at that area on the right-hand side. If you come up to the Krispy Kreme Donuts on 9th Avenue, one of my high recommendations for everyone, but turn right there, take Scenic Highway all the way down to the interstate. And then my district tracks back by way of 9 Mile Road, and Jernigan passes in the front of West Florida Hospital, and then goes to 9 Mile, Jernigan. It makes it back to the city. I'm responsible for all of the airport as well as Pensacola Beach. Very large community of great places to live, and very proud to represent and do what I can to make some better changes.
What is those people, general? What is their general voting precinct?
There are a ton of precincts in District 4.
I think it's 18, 19. There's a lot of precincts in the district. It's a very large district.
Go ahead, Jill. We're sorry.
That's okay. So, Ron, it's great to see you again. It was great to see you the other night and to chat with you just a little bit. I would say I kind of like your calm fire. Like, they better be ready for me. Don't be in my way. But you're so calm. It's kind of like, okay.
Quiet storm.
I want to know, what do you feel once you win, not when you win, is going to be your way of communicating with those that A, told you that the seat is not for you, and then B, that have this way that they spend, way that they talk, way that they control, and you coming in saying, hey, wait, I've been at, not so much, of course, I'm from Okaloosa County, but I've been at county commission meetings, and most of the time they go over that budget, they go over that stuff, and they all are just Oh, that's great. They don't even know what it is most of the time. And they're just, so I can see you. I have this picture of you going, wait a minute, what about item 7 and 10 and 4.5 B and A and C? So how are you going to handle that? How are you going to, because you know you're going to get pushback. So I just want you to kind of paint the picture of how you see this working.
Sure, sure. And first of all, it was a wonderful pleasure to meet you as well and to graze with you. Um, you know, all of my years of serving as a pastor, ultimately I ended up as a denominational leader over all of the Northeast states and the Eastern Canadian uh, District of Canada. I was the judiciary representative. And I like to present myself as a calm person because we need to listen more than we need to talk. I try to do that on most occasions, but when it's time to quit talking and it's time to get to work, that's what I'll do. I think a victory will sweep across the dais at the county, and my Republican friends will know that in spite of their wish or lack of desire, I have won this election, and I represent the people at the people's level. And, you know, you won't see it all at a main commission meeting because there's a lot of meetings that lead up to and boards that lead up to, for example, getting to the passing of a budget. It's a long process, but I will always show up. So that's half the job. And the second one is I'll be ready.
Vern, you got any questions? I have we have Sixth Amendment on the ballot facing Florida in November. Amendment 3, which make recreation marijuana use legal. Amendment 4, which focus on women access to reproductive health, and the school board elections that's going to be made partisan. How do you feel about all three of those?
Well, let me start with the school board, if I may. And I have little to no effect on the school board. You know, they're their own entity, but I do have an opinion. I think that would be horrible for us as a county to become partisan on that board. But you know, I'm still in a listening stage. And I'm still willing to consider what others have to say on that particular legislation or amendment, and we'll see what happens. I will always stand up and shout for a woman's right to choose. I should not have to, but more importantly, women should not have to. So, you know, it's important when someone needs health care, we should be able to offer them health care, whether it's urgent or in their doctor's office. It should not matter. No form of government needs to tell a doctor how to treat their patient. That should be a relationship all in their own. Regarding personal use, I don't medically use very often, but I am a card carrying marijuana user, and very rarely, I have profound pain in my back. I've had two major surgeries on my back, so I'm constantly in pain. But you know, but recreational use, we have for so many years overcharged charges against the least among us. We need to I commend President Biden for, turning back some folks and allowing them to be set free regarding personal use of marijuana. Low-level use should be absolutely fine. And I think our community could be healthier if they have that option. I know that medically, I am healthier by having that choice between me and my physician of how to treat pain in my body. So I wouldn't want anyone in the way of trying to be my physician that is very unqualified. So that's where I'm at. I think that personal use, fine.
While we're on that subject, I just want to say that Governor Westmore, I think I'm saying
Westmore
in Maryland, gave pardoning to 175,000 people.
Wow.
Was either once users or low level, dealers. So, but he pardoned 175,000, which was a major step forward in the country. Hopefully, other governors follow his lead and begin to do it. And I think marijuana should be totally legal in the country. We talk about a lot that alcohol kills more people than anybody on anything probably on the planet, from accidents and all of that, and people using guns because they had a drink or something that they ordinarily wouldn't do if they didn't have that drink, or they go out and have an accident in the car, cause the death of somebody. But and all of that is synthetic. Marijuana grows out the earth, and I don't know anybody that have gotten killed by using marijuana. People may have killed somebody over marijuana, but they haven't on the use. I don't know. So, Jill, you looking at me? What's your thought?
Jerry, I got a question.
Come on, Jill.
Yeah.
I have to say, I believe that we should allow recreational marijuana. I think that we should be very careful. Maybe what you said is probably true. You don't know anybody, but there are statistics, there are people, there are things that happen when people are on marijuana, but I wouldn't say don't let people have it. I think medically it's absolutely something that can assist people, especially with pain and getting through life. And then I think that recreationally, that there's no reason not to let them have it. Like you said, it's grown from the earth. I just would caution saying that there's no one who has ever been on marijuana and shot anybody or hurt anybody or abused anybody, because I can absolutely tell you that it's happened. So that's why I did that. I was like, okay, Jerry, stop, don't go anywhere.
I was just saying, I didn't know anybody.
I mean, it's not like it's going to come out, if something happened that they're going to be like, oh, they were on marijuana. Usually they might say they were on drugs. You never know what kind of drugs it is. But I don't think in the bigger picture of what this is really about, recreational marijuana would take thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. I mean, it won't get them out of jail now, but going forward, it'll just take that off the table. There are people that have, I don't know, I don't do marijuana, but I'm going to say an ounce, but I could not know what I'm talking about. I'm going to say an ounce, but I think that's cocaine, but whatever, of marijuana, and they get 20 years, and then somebody could go rape somebody and get off. Like, it's crazy, the things that they look at. And I just think it's unfair that you can molest a child, that you can do all these things, and people turn an eye, or a judge can let you get out of jail so you can go do it again because they think that you are better, or whatever the case might be. So I would just, I think that we need to say yes to this. I think that it needs to encourage many people to get out, because there are amendments out there that are allowing you to have a voice and a choice in your own community and with your own life. And this is something that absolutely impacts individual people. So you don't have to worry about what's happening in Washington. You don't really have to worry about your county commissioner or your city council. This is your life, your friends, your family, your community before you even get to leadership. It gives us the opportunity to have a voice and a choice that actually impacts us directly or could impact you directly. And so I'll say for the look.
No. Biden has already done something federally as far
He
as
already deregulated, rescheduled it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that doesn't. But that doesn't even. No,
That's
well,
right.
no, it's a different schedule. They put it on a lower schedule, but that the federal is still, when you're talking about state law, that doesn't trump it. So the federal law doesn't supersede what goes on in the state. So just because Biden did it, if it's not congruent with what the state law is, that's where you still have the problem. So all the people, when you do the reclassification, the rescheduling of the drug, you see those in federal custody with possession or trafficking or whatever the correct nomenclature is. Their charges can oftentimes be mitigated or removed, but that still doesn't do anything for those who have been convicted at the state level. That's where the two things have to be congruent at that point.
And I think Joe Biden can do an executive order until his time is up to, pardon all of those people who have federal charges, which would bring, and make sure they have their rights returned and their voting rights returned, which would help him and the Democrat Party overall. Because what Westmore did in Maryland, that's 175,000 people not going to forget, who caused them to be able to go back to school, get housing, to get health care and other, just a host of things that now that they can get jobs, without worrying about, if somebody gonna, I know that's, you can still find out things, but they'll be able to get jobs without having to worry about whether, I got a felony, because it's off their record now. Go ahead.
I just wanted to circle back. There are two things. I wanted to just push back a little bit on something you said regarding the school board. I think the Board of County Commissioners does have impact with respect to the school board, in the sense that they are responsible and have already tried this year to move us back from an appointed school board to an elected. That referendum gets drafted through the Board of County Commissioners when they vote on it. So, from that perspective, there is a bit of a tie in there. And the second thing I wanted to share, we were talking about it, and I believe, Bill, you asked about the precincts in District 4, and those precincts are District 30, 35, 40, 41, 42, 46, 49, 51, 58, 64, 72, 88, 91, 94, 97, 106, 107, 108, and 110. So if you're in Escambia County in those precincts, you would fall in that voting district or county district.
Well, Derek, if I may, let me just say that in my opinion, my current opinion, if we allow it to be partisan, it will be filled with all Republicans.
I agree.
So we shall not set ourselves up to. We have to educate on this issue.
Right.
A nonpartisan. You can get away with it at the city level,
right.
But almost nowhere else.
Right.
Yeah, of course, one of the biggest threat to democracy is voting rights. Explain what you see as both the problem and the solution.
So, Jerry, it breaks my heart when someone is turned away because they don't have their affairs in order, or they're at the wrong precinct, or their precinct is now 11 miles away instead of 3 blocks. Republicans have pushed and succeeded in causing us to have less and less and less access to the ballot box and to our own precincts. It's a travesty. And they're not done, believe me. They are going to continue, no doubt about it. We need a precinct in every neighborhood, if you want my opinion. We need to be able to help the elderly come on out and let's get you to the polls safely, non-bothered by any outside consideration. It should be their precinct, not some place they go that they're not used to going. Churches have done a wonderful job of making their places accessible as voting locations, as well as many other halls and organizations. So we're losing the battle. At this point, we are losing. And Republicans are going to gain a lot of ground the longer we take to not push back. So,
and I'm hearing, Ron, that they're proposing or attempting to propose legislation to require you to prove that you are a U.S. citizen, which is, detrimental mostly to Black and brown communities as far as being able to put their hands on their birth certificates and a passport or what have you to be able to prove that. So they are in every way they can discourage and determine the outcome of elections by taking as many of marginalized communities out of the fray.
Yeah, I don't have at hand the knowledge of where my birth certificate is, and I don't have a passport. I may get one if the election goes the wrong way, but it's ridiculous. I mean, we don't have to make it complicated. Voter suppression is it keeps coming.
Hey, Bill. That reminds me of the situation about being a certified minority business, right? You have to prove that you're Black or you're a minority to be in a certified to be in that, which is stupid to me. I was born Black, I'm going to die Black. And you can look at me and tell me I'm Black, but yet you're going to have to produce paperwork and financial statements and all that kind of, but that what you just kind of rang at me when I have to, when you're in business, then they put you through all these changes to get
discouraged.
Yeah, exactly.
To discourage, right.
And even prevent you from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So between book banning and the whitewashing of history, there has been an outright attack to demonize and dehumanize Black, brown, and other marginalized communities. What do you feel your role, if any, as a commissioner representing District 4 can do to stop it?
Well, I would love, Jerry, to see a countywide ordinance of non-discrimination that includes people like myself, people like you. Baptist Hospital has a more inclusive non-discrimination statement than our own county. And the city's pretty close to the same level of Baptist, but certainly not at the county commission level. We need to just call it out. We have to call it out. And it needs to be the voices of where it is happening. Doesn't mean as an elected official, I'm not there to support, but we need for people to have a platform to point out when there is, like even through this forum, issues that are not right, where they are discriminated against. Ron DeSantis, whoa, I could say so much, but my mom taught me better. But he is not on our side. He will not be on our side. And I would love to see a fully inclusive, non-discrimination policy at the county level.
Very good.
Yeah, no, I think as we, certainly I want to say thank you for being with us this evening. I guess as we, you're welcome to stay. We have a whole hour and 15 minutes left, and you're more than welcome to stay with us. But what I would like to do is get you to close and just, last question that I would have is, what's the one message that you want us to take back, to our community and those that are listening about why they should vote for you? And lastly, in that, if you could, as you close, share with them, the viewers, how they can support you and what you are currently in need.
Well, thank you very much. And again, being on this program tonight is certainly of huge support to me. And I appreciate the honor to appear before all the listeners. And it's been extremely empowering to me. So I would just have a couple of things to say. The very first of which is I will show up and I will serve with integrity. I show up even when I'm not wanted in many places. I will show up. I will keep my promises. I'm ready to serve this county. I'm ready to serve it in a very diverse and progressive way. I love Pensacola Beach. I love all of our beaches. I don't get there as often as I wish I could. I love our county. I love our city. I take extra comfort that, I am in a place where I can make positive change. And it's not always of my choosing, but change needs to happen at so many levels. I will be there. I encourage you to invite me there when it happens, elected or not. But when I become county commissioner, I will return phone calls. I will answer your questions, and I will empower you to hold us accountable. I ask for your support. You can send a check to Ron Helms for County Commission, 1704 East Marino Street, Pensacola, Florida, 32503. My personal cell number is 850-266-4610. It's on every piece of campaign literature I have. Please join me. We have room for you on my team if you want to be a part of this campaign. We are at a grassroots level. We don't ask people to do anything they don't want to do. And if they need help with training, you'll get it. Again, I'm asking for your support and your vote in November on Election Day.
And we hope that when you get elected we're going to ask you to come back when you get elected to talk about some of the issues that you think ought to be addressed. So
thank you, Jerry. And I look forward to you leading that list. And I'll be more receptive than you think. So thank you.
Thank you.
Well, certainly you're welcome to stay with us, Ron, if you'd like, engage and contribute as you still need to be. I understand that you want to respect your time. So certainly, again, we thank you for joining us. And for all of our viewers out there, please make sure that you reach out to Ron, support his campaign, make sure that you attend his functions. But most importantly, those of you all who are in Escambia County District 4, which are those precincts that I named, on the election, early voting, as well as general election day, as we move into November, please make sure that you cast your vote. Ron goes directly to the general election, so he's going to need all of the support that we have. And, you know, I know that you've gotten pushback to say it's a Republican seat, but, you know, just so that everybody else knows in Escambia County who's watching, it can be done. You know, the same voters who voted for a Democratic school board member are the same voters who voted for a Democratic, can vote for a Democratic county commissioner. But in order to see it happen, we have to get out and vote. There's not a large difference. There's not an insurmountable difference between Democrats and Republicans in District 4. But in order to do so, we need everybody to get out and vote. So, Ron, again, thank you for joining us. As Mr. McIntosh said, please feel free to come back at any point in time, even before the election. We're more than happy to have you back so you can make that last call, last ditch effort as people move forward in their voting process. So again, thank you for joining us, and feel free to stick along or just stick around, or feel free to whichever you'd like to do. We thank you.
At this point, Derek, thank you so much. I know I'll see you soon. I hope to see all of you soon, but I am going to sign off, and I think I can get just a little more canvassing in where I left off, and I'm going to try to do that now. It's getting dark, but they still have a doorbell. Thank you all. Good night.
All right. Good night. All right, everybody. That was, again, Ron Helms, Escambia County District 4 Board of County Commissioners, Democratic candidate. He needs your support, and let's make that happen. Let's prove the naysayers wrong.
Do you have his information that you can do your breaking news across your screen like we normally do?
Yeah, I think so. I will, as we do that, I'll work on it. Mr. McIntosh, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, I know we're doing going around the our table, right? Our round table. Well,
right.
I want to thank all of you for being there at the banquet this past Friday night. We thank everybody for coming, but we want to thank all of you for attending our banquet. It's no way the organization could do the work without continued support of the communities, organization, volunteers, families, and friends, and all the members of Moving for Change. I want to thank our board, one of the best board of directors our organization can have, for the dedication and commitment to ensure that Moving for Change display a spirit of excellence. I want to thank all the members of Moving for Change for having the moral strength and perseverance to be a part of something bigger than themselves, and the determination and belief that in the face of adversity, justice will prevail. Finally, I would like to thank all the members for their hard work for building a solid foundation focused on social justice issues impacting us locally, on the state level, and nationally. There are many issues still facing us today, such as a fleeting democracy, climate change, cut to education, affordable housing, school to prison pipeline, college tuition, healthcare, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, infrastructure, healthy food, voter suppression, and the list goes on. We understand the cause in which we struggle is too big for any one man, woman, group, or organization. It's going to take all of us willing to be committed to the cause of justice. Frederick Douglass stated if there's no struggle, there's no progress. Find out just what any people will quickly submit to, and you'll find, and you have found the exact measure of the injustice and wrong which will be imposed upon them. These injustices will continue until they are resisted with either words or blows or both. The limit of a tyrant are prescribed by the endurance of those whom they oppress. If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet disappreciate agitation are men who want crops without plying up the ground. They want rain without the thunder and lightning, and they want the ocean without its awful roar of its many waters. Power conceives nothing without a demand. It never has and it never will. And that's what I was reading for, what I wrote to get the attention of people that's watching the show. And we didn't get a chance to thank everybody, I don't think, properly. But we did thank them. But I wanted to make sure we do this over and over again till today, and then I will do it again on radio Tuesday to thank the people that came out. I want to thank you, Jill, for helping us out. I know I saw you going through that, you and Derek helping, but thanks again for doing that. People told me that they hadn't heard of Move for Change, so I want to talk a little bit about the history of Move for Change and some of the things that what Move for Change stands for. The mission of Move for Change is to increase the community awareness of social justice issues, to advocate and conduct action to improve human and civil rights, and through its program, enhance the education and economics opportunity of the residents of Northwest Florida. Our vision for Move for Change, the vision of Move for Change is to attain equity for the resident of Northwest Florida, including equality of treatment, opportunities, and the quality of life. To speak truth to power, to express mutual respect for all persons, include respect for differences while emphasizing similarity and promoting unity. To conduct organization practice and action with professionalism and dignity. To accomplish the Movement for Change mission through teamwork, collective decision-making, to be observant of conduct and action of public officials and promote their transparency and accountability to the public, to communicate to staff members and volunteer Move for Change policy and practice and the importance to conduct ourselves according to the values of Move for Change. Move for Change grew out of a grassroots organization named Progressive Alliance, Community Equity Resources and Strategies, along with a grassroots committee whose purpose was to rename Palafox or Aconita Street to Dr. Martin Luther King Drive. Move for Change was officially founded in 1997 as a replacement for Pacers, the grassroots committee to address additional community issues such as the rigid, defiant attitude of city officials. Move for Change goal is to improve the prevailing disparity that exists in education, law enforcement, voting processes, variation of juvenile interventions, unaddressed solution. It challenged the status quo, non-accountability of respective Scanty County elected, and empowering the community to make a difference. Moving for Change members band together for a common cause for 2.5 years and found common ground for Aconita Street to be renamed Dr. Martin Luther King. That's just one of the environment. During COVID, we partnered with the city to pass out masks, to get shots in people's arms, to pass out food, to do all of the work. And we was out there every weekend in COVID, in the middle of it, making sure that people got the health care that they need as far as shots, masks, and testing kits, and food if they needed it on their table. So, yeah. Somebody told me, they didn't, they hadn't heard of Move for Change and didn't even know who Move for Change was. So I wanted to kind of explain a little bit of some of the things that we've done. We work with other organizations, whether it's Equal Ground, Black Voters Matter, um, yeah, with Derek, what's the name of the Northwest Florida Panhandle Coalition? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you got it right. Northwest Florida Panhandle Coalition for Civic Engagement.
Civic engagement, right? So we work with a lot of organizations around here and around the state. So we definitely want people to know who we are, what we are doing. We definitely want people to go to Tallahassee with us. We definitely want people to vote. We have registered over 500 and some people in the last few years, starting a couple of years ago. But it's not enough. We need more people. We need more volunteers with Move for Change. And we need younger people with technical skills. We need writers and, people that can, help us to make the necessary changes that we need. We need those individuals. So I'll leave it there. There.
Okay, over that. Hey, Cheryl, welcome back again. Glad to have you with us. I will go to Mr. Runner. Do you have anything for us today?
No, not really. I'll pass on it. I got some other stuff we'll talk about when we talk later, but I don't have everything right now.
Okay. Jill.
I'm going to say, Jerry, thank you for so much for always having us engaged and involved in everything that goes on, especially for me, because remember, I'm from Okaloosa, so many of you in Escambia have just opened your arms and your hearts and your minds and said, hey, Jill, are you coming to this? Can you help us with this? And I'm always willing, but it's nice to know that it's like family. And the invite is the same if you ever want to come to Okaloosa County. It is just a short hour and a half drive away from you, but it's not that bad, depending on what part of Okaloosa you're going to. So I do want to say thank you. And then I want to share a couple of things. The first thing is, and I'm not sure if Derek's going to go over it, so I'm going to do it, and you can fix it if I don't do it well enough. We have an event coming up July 13th. Equal Ground is coming in the morning. Doors will open about 8 or 8:30, and then they'll stay for about 2 hours with us. We'll give you breakfast. They'll do a recap on the legislative session, give us all of the information we need to know going forward for this election and for the session in 2025. And then we will break for lunch. And afterwards, your wonderful team of Escambia, Santa Rosa, Okaloosa will come together, and we're going to put together some training, definitely go over the amendments, give you some of the candidates. And that location is 6151 Dogwood Drive in Milton. And we invite all of you. Last year it was in Escambia County. I think we had almost 100 people there. And it was eye-opening, to see us all there from all the different counties, but then to see the information that they gave. And they do a really good job to make sure that they break down and they tell you what's going on in Escambia, what's going on in Santa Rosa, what's going on in Okaloosa County too. So it will be information that you'll be able to take back to your organization. This is not a democratic function. This is a opportunity for anyone who is civically engaged, anyone who is wondering about what to do when it comes to voting, when it comes to your community. It is open to absolutely everybody. And I would encourage that our faith-based leadership across all those counties attend. We need to find ways that we can support candidates, that we can at least, if you are a faith-based leader, tell your community to go vote and to register. You don't have to tell them what to register for, what whether it be a Democrat, Republican, MPA, just tell them we need you to say just as much as we say, welcome. It's not biblical. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say just as much as you say welcome to them, then I need you to then share welcome and did you register? Welcome and are you going to vote? Welcome and do you know that we have an election coming up August 20th? Do you know when the last day it is for you to register? We've got to have every entity everywhere speaking truth and giving education. It doesn't always have to come at a certain meeting. It should just be our regular conversation every time we're talking to whoever you're talking to, whenever you're talking. It should be, if we want the change that's desperately needed, then we're going to have to do the work differently than we've ever done it before. And that's probably easier said than done because we're in it. So we're doing the work. But there's so many of us, I look at, and I'll talk about my own county. In Okaloosa County, we have 24,507, I believe, Democrats now. We used to be up to 30, and now we dropped down to 24. And we have 80,000 Republicans. So our work is vast. But in our DEC, we have emails of 1,000 people. So the other 23,000 people, we don't really have access to. So how do you get access to those people? That takes us communicating. That takes organizations and faith-based leadership and the community talking, sharing information. I'm not telling you to be a Democrat. I have strong views on that, but that's not what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is register, get educated, understand what's going on, and then make the decision that's best for you first, your family, and your community. So that's what I would share. The other thing I'm going to share is we have look it up. Hold on a second. We have a forum that's coming up. Actually, there's several of them. This is the first one in Okaloosa County. It's a candidate forum. It will be Thursday, June 27th. It's at the Fort Walton Beach Civic Auditorium, located at 107 US 98 Fort Walton Beach. And it starts at 5 o'clock. And that will be, they're doing several. This will be for the Okaloosa County Commissioner Districts 1, 3, 5, and School Board District 2. So we hope to see you there. That's Thursday, June 27th. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for that. Bill, what do you have for us today?
Well, first of all, I want to take my hat off to each and every one of you guys on the panel. I always extend a hearty thank you to the Honorable Rodney Jones and Jerry McIntosh. I am so proud and glad to be a member of Pensacola's Movement for Change Center for Social Justice. The banquet, oh my God, the banquet was off the chain. Kylie Janae Lacey. Oh my God, man, young folks should have been there. But if you're watching and you're young, please go to WBQP and watch the keynote speaker. That white privilege poem is something I want a copy of. That was just awesome. But the banquet was the prizes, everything. The spirit of Carol was in the place, Brother Jerry. You guys did a terrific job, man, of that deal. So I just enjoyed it. Next year, you guys, get your tickets early. Jerry was saying they were getting bombarded with tickets at the last minute and was wondering if we were going to have enough room for all of the people that were buying over the cash out. But Kylie Janae Lacey, I am impressed. I was awed when she was on this show few years back. But Miss Ora Lacey, I know you're watching over there in Arkansas. You have something to be proud of. Kylie was all of that. And I just cannot say enough. Want to shout out to my daughter that's watching us right now, Brittany Anderson. Brittany Anderson had the opportunity to drive up to Birmingham yesterday. After I left the conference that Friday night, I had to go, and me and my granddaughter drove to Birmingham. And she and I had 4.5 hours to talk, and I think I'm swaying her for Biden. Now, I was talking to her months back, and I went to sleep and had a nightmare. But I think I'm letting her know all of who that other guy is, and I'm feeling a lot better about swaying her now. But I just want to touch base. Cindy Martin, all of us know Cindy Martin. On August 3rd, she is hosting Trayvon Martin's mother here in Pensacola at Brownsville Community Center. That's going to be at 6:30, and she was asking me about you guys and your email address to get you some tickets. I told her I would mention connecting the chains with a Z as opposed to an S at the end. Don't be the missing link. Keynote speaker Sabrina Fulton. That's all I have. Thank you.
You should have told her to come on the show and talk about
well,
it.
I responded with, you need to be a guest on the show and talk about it. I did, Mr. Jerry.
Hey, Bill, what date is that again?
All right.
You're on mute, Byron.
Oh, okay. Hang on for a second. Bill, what date is that again?
August 3rd, Brownsville Community Center.
Okay.
Yeah,
Brownsville.
absolutely.
Okay, I got it. I'm putting it in my calendar.
Well, I just simply responded. You need to be a guest on the show.
Mm-hmm. Hello, Miss Cheryl Mulrain. What you got for us?
Cheryl Mulrain.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to say that banquet was amazing. It was beautifully done. I didn't get a chance to see the keynote speaker, but I will be watching it on WBQP. So thank you for that information. I did have to leave that early that night. Everything was great. Food was great. And it was nice to see everyone out and celebrating Juneteenth in that way. What I have to announce is candidate Haley Morissette is hosting her campaign kickoff on Friday. Yes, there it is. June 28th from 4 to 7 at 1216 North, which is its address, which is 1216 North 9th Avenue. There'll be food. We have music from several different DJs that Haley has worked with over the years. She has some giveaways, some surprises, and people get a chance, an opportunity to meet Haley and ask her questions. She'll be talking a little bit about her platform and what she plans to, some of her plans are for Florida State House District 2.
Can you tell us what you do for the campaign?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
What do you do for the campaign?
Oh, I am Haley's campaign manager.
Hey.
All right now. Go ahead and say bye to Alex now, so everybody collectively say bye.
116 North 9th Avenue, where is that at?
1216.
1216 North 9th Avenue.
Okay.
Yes.
Where is that at? What building is that?
It should be close to where the old Barnes was, you know?
Right across the street. And you'll be able to see it because we'll have be making a lot of noise. We'll have a lot of we'll have the balloons and the festivities. We're doing it outside, like block party style. So
he know where the old Barnes was. He know.
Okay.
Okay. Where old Barnes was. Okay.
Right across the street from where the old Barnes was.
Right close to Church's Chicken down there, right?
Well, that's about
the old churches.
Away.
Huh?
That's about 8 to 12 blocks north.
Yes, it's very close to 9th Avenue.
Yeah.
I mean, close to the Savannah.
I mean, I'm sorry, Savannah.
Yeah, I know. Okay, all right.
Yeah, so I hope to see everyone out. Come out and support Haley. Come out and meet her, see what's going on with the campaign. Write some checks and sign up to volunteer or go out with us canvassing. But there's a lot to do in order to win this race, and we need all hands on deck.
And she was at the banquet, and she is an incredible young lady. She was on the show a couple of weeks back.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, there are a couple of things. I got a hopefully not a laundry list, but it is a laundry list. So I'm going to go through and share them so that everybody knows. Specifically, I'm going to start with something pressing, and that is with the Escambia County School District and School Board. Right now, as you know, we've been fighting for the last year plus on these book bans and the way they're doing book reviews. Well, recently, the Escambia County School Board Superintendent just recently making changes on the way they've done the book review committees. If you recall, typically what they've done in the past is you volunteered to read the book. The book is challenged, right, as we know that they do. And then they take an amalgamation of 3 to 5 individuals from the community that have volunteered or requested to be a part of the book review committee, and they read the book. They give a final recommendation as a committee to the school board. The school board, in most cases, decides to overrule what the committee decides to do if if the decision is to keep it, right? But he's now made a change, and so instead of volunteering, the school board members are going to appoint, and if you understand the makeup of the school board right now, we have 3 Republicans and 2 Democrats that are currently in-house. But as we move forward after November, that's going to change to a completely or 4-1, 4 Republicans to 1 Democrat split. So right now we are encouraging everybody to make sure that they call their school board member and tell them that they want to be on these book review committees. That is the only way we will have representation to speak to our voice, so that our students of color, students of LGBT community are represented in this book review discussions. So if you live in District 1, Kevin Adams is your school board member. His cell number is 850-619-7594. And his email address is kadams2@ecsdfl.us. If you're in District 2, it's Paul Fetzko. His telephone number is 850-298-0528, and his P. Fetzko at ecsdfl.us. District 3 board members, David Williams is 850-602-5523. That's D Williams 3 at ecsdfl.us. If you are in District 4, that is Patty Hightower. Her cell phone number is 850-384-7791. Or P. Hightower at ecsdfl.us. And finally, if you are in District 5, your school board member is Bill Slayton, and that's 968-9118. Or B. Slayton at ecsdfl.us. They haven't just stopped their attacks at the school board. As you know, they are challenging books in the public library. So if you are in Escambia County, they are having the library board meeting where they're talking about books that they are having to remove and have censored. And we want to be at that public library meeting as well. That meeting is going to be on tomorrow, which is June the 24th at 4 p.m. at the downtown library, which is located at 239 North Spring Street. Everybody needs to show up and let the library know that we support access to all books for all citizens of Escambia County, not just the small minority who want to see a certain particular style of book. So again, encourage them to follow their process for book objections, not just haphazardly remove and reassign books. And the only way that we can get that done is if we show up. And again, that's on Monday, which is tomorrow, June the 24th at 4 p.m. at the downtown library at 239 North Spring Street. As we continue to move on, we are still have opportunities to make sure that we impact this year's election cycle. And in order to do so, we need people to knock on doors. We need people to make phone calls. We need people to write postcards. So if that is one of those three or all of the above or your ministry, we need you. Please call the Escambia Democratic headquarters at 850-407-7997. That's again 850-407-7997. And let us know that you are here and you would like to get engaged, and we will have something for you to do. You can also email Escambia Dems, that is ESCAMBIA DEMS @outlook.com, or you can go to our website at escambiademocrats.org and fill out the contact info there, leave your contact, and we certainly will make sure that we have something for you to do. It's going to take all hands on deck. So please make sure that you come out and do what we can to make sure that democracy does not die on our watch. And lastly, I want to share on the July the 21st, as we move forward, the Escambia Democrats are going to be having their second barbecue party and cookout. It's going to be on Sunday, July the 21st, from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Escambia Democratic Party headquarters at 2618 Martin Luther King Drive here in Pensacola. If you are interested, what we will be having are your choice. You can have a barbecue plate, which consists of a hamburger, cheeseburger, hot dog, barbecue baked beans, potato chips, and your choice of beverage, and an additional, and that's for a ticketed price of $15. We will also be carrying our world famous turkey legs. If you missed us last year, you know that those were a success. We had people coming from all over, running to the Escambia Democratic office, trying to make sure they got a turkey leg. So we will be doing that again. Please make sure to reserve your turkey leg. It's best that you get an advance ticket. You can do so by going to this website. That's bit.ly/3CS, lowercase v, capital Q, capital Y, lowercase c, and getting your ticket, or calling the Escambia Democratic headquarters at 850-407-7997 and letting them know that you would like to reserve a ticket, and they will tell you how to make payments there. Again, this is an outdoor activity that you don't want to miss, and all funds that we will be collecting will go to the use of getting out the information for our candidates, and call cards, slate cards for individuals, texting, and so forth, so everybody knows that this is going to a good cause, and that is to get out there.
Oh, what time and where?
It is going to be from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Escambia Democratic headquarters, which is 2618 North Martin Luther King Drive. That is on Sunday, July the 21st, from 4 to 6 p.m.
You said 2618 MLK Drive, huh? Okay.
That is it.
All right.
And that is all that I have. And so I appreciate you. I'm going to give it back to Mr. McIntosh, I think, anyway.
Okay. So, yeah, again, let me thank everybody that came to the banquet. And it's definitely my niece, Kyla Janae Lacey. Hopefully she get a chance to watch the show tonight, but I know she got home about 6 this evening while I talked to her, but I hope she is watching. But anyway, we, as Derek said, in Orlando, we said that democracy would not die on our watch. Our theme was democracy or dictatorship. And it seems like there are so many people leaning toward dictatorship and don't know the ramifications of it and what it entails. And this, totalitarian governments don't have no friends. Everybody end up have to spy on each other, or somebody can, if they the minions of that form of government, they can come take everything you got, and nothing is being done, and nothing will be done about it. And the country become paralyzed over under dictatorship. The people become so depressed and oppressed that they allow the dictator to continue until somebody come up and say enough is enough. And I was looking at the news this evening, and they was talking about Putin over there and how he has killed off all his opponents and people that he considered enemies, every one of them. And then him and Kim is making a alliance. Kim Jong Un, I call him Lil Kim.
That's right. That was 45 used to call him.
Yeah. But anyway, they are making alliances. So I mean,
I thought you were talking about Lil Kim, the rapper. At first, I was like, "Wait, what's going on with that Lil Kim?" Okay, but I get it now. Okay, got it. Okay,
Lil Kim. But they need to read Project 2025, Mr. Jerry. That's what they need to read. That if that don't open no eyes, nothing will.
Yeah, and we definitely got to bring that to the fore. I know we're gonna be getting more politicians on people that's running for office. I would say more and more as the days coming to make sure that people are exposed to the candidates and learn something about them and know who to vote for, because many people ask me all the time, who's running. I'm like, okay, you got a whole bunch of people running. I don't think position is uncontested in the state of Florida, is it, Derek?
Well, yeah, for the first time in 30 years that we know of in this race, every seat in the Florida legislature, which is including the Senate and the House, we've got a candidate from a Democratic standpoint in every one of those races. This is the first time in the past 30 plus years that that's happened since the 90s. So.
And this, I guess, this a question that needs to be asked of Jasmine. What kind of finances are being put on the ground here in the Northwest Florida area? I know she had said that she was going to make sure that we were recognized down here, but I don't know if you have talked with her or not lately so we can get some finances in this area.
Yeah, Jill and I were talking just earlier and thought maybe it'd be good if we see if we can schedule her one Sunday to come on so she can talk about it from the Biden-Harris administration standpoint. For our viewers who are watching, Jasmine Bernie Clark, which we may all be familiar with, she was the founder and lead for Equal Ground. She recently stepped back to take the position of be the Biden for President Florida State Director. So she is in charge for the Biden-Harris campaign for the entire state of Florida, and it's a great resource. I think, to your point, though, she would be great. I know when we were down in Orlando a few weekends ago, we made contact. We were fortunate enough, and I think they're putting in a lot of resources to make sure that the entire state of Florida is looked at and looked out for, and particularly Northwest Florida. Full disclosure, Mr. Vernon and I were just having a conversation just earlier this week about getting him in contact with the media people on the campaign so that they can start doing their media buys for Northwest Florida. So I fully expect the patterns that we have traditionally been used to seeing, which is a neglect. Those neglect we won't see this cycle.
Quick shout out to Rose Shelby Williams that was at our banquet the other night, one of our faithful Our Voices viewers. Thank you, Miss Rose Shelby, for all of your support, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was intending to say something the other night. There's so much going on and once things get to move, but they, Rose and Carol and all of them was part of the the progressive Black women, and still are. Rose, and I saw Deborah Homer there as well, who was part of who is a part of the progressive Black women, who has helped put got our initiative, the Carol McIntosh initiative, along with Celestine Lewis. I just wanted to put that out there. I was supposed to have been said something other night, but I changed my mind because I didn't want it to get emotional. I wanted to everybody to have a great time to because of the banquet. So again, I want to thank Rose for helping to carry things on in the absence of Carol. So again, that is a great thing because it was a lot of great things they were doing, especially for young ladies. Because I used to be over there with them every Saturday, so because I had to go open up the church, and I did my spiel with them and as well. So again, I want to thank Rose for carrying things on. Yes. Vern, can you, because somebody told me to ask you to explain how to get on again, how to get your show from a distance.
Okay.
They want to download your station.
Okay. Actually, Jared, it'll take me a minute, but it's a number of ways that they can get us. You talking about folks
Out of state.
Out of state?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's easy for them. First of all, the easiest way to do it, the very easiest way to do it, is just download the WBQP TV app. Okay. If you got that app, then you can see we run 24/7 on the app, as well as all of the shows like this show here is archived on that app. Okay, they can get it from there. Or if they have a Roku device or Roku TV, you got a Roku box or either Roku TV, they can just search for WBQP TV. If they got a Fire Stick TV or a Fire Stick box or device, if you will, they can do this very same thing. Just type in WBQP TV and it'll come up on that app. If they got an Apple TV device, again, or an Apple TV, they can do the very same thing. Type in WBQP and it'll come up on that app. If they got an Android TV or an Android TV device, it's the same thing. It's the same procedure. Or they can go to the website. We're streaming 24/7 live on our website. Or they can go, if you can just search it on Google on some of the internet TV platforms. There are several internet TV platforms like Airy.tv and a couple other ones. We also on those platforms as well. So it's a number of ways that they can always get us, Jerry. But easiest way is just download the app, because on your cell phone or your tablet or your watch. But if they want it from TV, they have to go to either Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, Android TV, and even Samsung TV. Okay, so they should be able to get us very easily there. All right. So Derek just put up some of the stuff that we got there that you can find us there. That's right. Very easy, Jerry.
Yeah, I know. These people live out of town. They was saying we want to watch the show.
Yeah, but, just either give them my cell phone number. That's my official number, and they can give them a call, and I can just walk them through it.
All right, then.
Okay.
Okay. Derek.
Okay. Well, as we move forward, we've got about a little over 25 minutes, and I wanted to, as we walk through a couple of things, as we know, we talked about the Juneteenth, and I'm gonna in our efforts, hopefully we can walk it. I think what I would love for us to be able to do is diversify our audience and bring in a little a younger crowd. So I'm going to pivot to something that occurred this week and get you all's perspective on. As we know, we just went through Juneteenth as a holiday and celebration, and we're all familiar with what the purpose of Juneteenth is, why we celebrate it, and now its inception from being something that we celebrated in Black households to now a national holiday. But recently, there was this week there was a concert that was held with Kendrick Lamar, and it was in celebration for Juneteenth. And he had a lot of artists that participated, and it sparked a controversy not controversy, it sparked a discussion that particularly Mexican Americans felt underrepresented in Juneteenth and the festivities that were going on. And, seeing people have that discussion triggered me. They were having it with Black people, and some of the people were like, oh, okay. And I'm like, what do you mean you're underrepresented? Do you understand what Juneteenth is? But I just want to get your perspective of, do we need to do, I guess we take it for granted that everybody knows or that we know what Juneteenth is. Do we need to do more around education, around what Juneteenth is, why we celebrate it, and why all spaces aren't for everybody, in this day and time?
Well, it is a national holiday now, and anybody can participate. And there have never been any, I don't know any Black people that have decided that, our brown brothers and sisters cannot participate. I really don't know what they mean by underrepresentation, because you're talking about something that Black people suffered under, slavery and the brutality of slavery. You're talking about people working more time than they should have for free, and not even know that they were supposed to be free. Right. But many times people get the wrong misunderstanding about what is taking place here, because slavery, that was one of the most cruel, inhumane thing in humanity, as far as I'm concerned, because they were so brutal and so vicious and violent that that you beat the morals and religion out of people, so they would have to worship you as a person, not as and make themselves God to you. The cruelty of it is what if you want to celebrate something, you need to know what it's really all about and how violent and vicious this thing were.
Jerry,
because, go ahead, Vern.
I'm just trying to understand when I too, like you, I'm not quite sure what the conversations is about in terms of underrepresentation, unless they are talking about, Juneteenth really officially ended slavery in America. Okay, for Juneteenth, even though officially it was ended in 1863, but it didn't come true for everybody until 1865, on June 19th, 1865. So I think that is the issue that Juneteenth, one of the things that Juneteenth represents, is that we're celebrating the complete end of freedom, and for Black Americans, that this is the beginning of freedom for everybody. And so I'm not quite understanding the controversy, the conversation about, and I too agree with you, Jerry. I think all people, brown people, Black people, white people, yellow people, all colors, if they want to help celebrate the end of slavery and the beginning of freedom for all Americans, we should welcome that. But I don't know, Derek. I know you started the conversation, and I did not get completely in on that. So
Yeah.
what other factors are they speaking of?
Well, I
Before
think.
that,
Go ahead.
before you answer there, I think if you're going to celebrate something, you need to know what you're celebrating.
Yeah.
I think that's the issue. You know, don't tell me that I left you out and you don't know what you were left out from. You
Yeah.
know, the you know if you want to celebrate with us, then great. We would love to have you. We love having people to celebrate with. But
Right.
Well, Jerry, but in all fairness, though, okay, in all fairness, I know black folks didn't have any idea about what Juneteenth is, and with the
I
book
know.
banning and trying to keep everything out of education today and not letting folks know, I'm not surprised that people of the color brown people didn't know about Juneteenth and so forth. So, uh, with the atmosphere that we got in America. So, but I do agree with you. Now's the time that, and maybe in Juneteenth is one of the methods that we can use now to help educate people about what Juneteenth is all about and everything. And so,
Mm-hmm.
without anybody feeling slighted.
Right. Right. And in fairness, in their conversation, it was appalling because they were citing Juneteenth as a commemorative celebration in honor of the massacres at Tulsa and in Selma. And I'm like, what? You don't have a clue what you're talking about, right? But but in that conversation, what was surprising is that black people who were engaged in the conversation did not also have an understanding either, because there was no correction or looking at people. If someone said that to me, I would look at them like, what do you mean you've been left out? To your point, like, let's start with the basis. What is Juneteenth?
Right.
Right? And so in that, it becomes a little bit difficulty, and the rebuttal to that was that, well, you all celebrate, we as black people, and I'm not sure how true this is, but we celebrate Cinco de Mayo, so it should be the same. The converse should be true. They should be celebrating Juneteenth.
But I still don't understand the comfort. I didn't know a lot about Cinco de Mayo until Cinco de Mayo actually became popular. Okay, then as I learned about it, then I learned to appreciate it more. So I'm still at odds about what the real question is.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Joe.
So to your first question, which was your original question, do we need more education? Clearly we do, because we're having this conversation. So I would say, but a lot of things that we're talking about on this show, we need to have more education. What does a senator do? What does a commissioner do? Why is it important to vote? Why are there these different holidays? So I would say the answer is absolutely yes. The second thing I would say is maybe you didn't give us enough context, because you just said, hey, they said this, but I can't respond to that without you telling me what did they say after that. They're left out. Why? Because they're not what?
They felt that was the end of it. There was no context. They just felt like, particularly, they made reference to the Kendrick Lamar concert. They felt that there weren't Mexican Americans represented, I guess, in the artistry. There was no expansion on what they said, except they felt underrepresented and undervalued. And that seemed to be a common shared thought around it. But it went to me, the underlying theme was you don't know what Juneteenth is to understand why you technically would not be represented in the holiday.
Well, the holiday is a holiday. Everybody's represented because they definitely take it off if they get it off. It's not like they're like, oh, I'm not black, I need to go to work.
Right.
So I would say, I mean, I'm just real. I'm like, okay, what do you want us to do? You have the holiday, take it off. If you want to be represented, then go to one of the functions and be represented. That's what we do for Cinco de Mayo. I mean, that's the way it works. So I guess that would be my answer. But to question, I mean, you might not, but other people do. Like, so I'm just saying.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I tend to think that it's a little different. I think that although it is a national holiday, and then one could question whether or not this was a great thing to do to make it a national holiday for this very same purpose. But I think the concept of Juneteenth is that you are commemorating the day that the last enslaved Africans were made aware that made notice that they were free, right?
Correct.
There in that concept doesn't include Mexican Americans because they weren't in the Emancipation Proclamation. So while you can celebrate and appreciate it, I don't know where you would be represented in the holiday.
I think I would want to talk to somebody who said that and ask them a one-on-one question like, what are you talking about when you say represented? Are you saying, why are you not represented in the celebration? Are you saying, why weren't you represented in what it means because you don't understand what it means? I don't know. I think this is a question that we're trying to answer without having the full facts, or at least somebody on here could say, yes, I believe that, and this is why I'm saying that. Because we're just now throwing out thought processes. But to your original question, I would say absolutely. Anything that we do or have on this show, I think we try to do a really good job in making sure that people are aware what it means, why it's important, and how you can engage or get more information. And I think we continue to do that on every single topic that we bring up so that our viewing audience can be educated. And maybe somebody's out there who believed that, said that, read that, and now they're like, oh, I didn't know that's what it was, or no, they don't understand. And if you're one of those people and we're not understanding, call in so we can discuss it and at least understand so we can have a better answer.
Because there's still, I think that, people really need to check into, and I agree with you, Jill, that we need to educate more. And that's what we're always trying to do. But by the same token, I think they have a responsibility to look into, what Juneteenth really means. Before saying that they were left out. What do are you saying you're angry because you were not part of the slavery part of it, or what? And those are the questions. Those are the questions that need to be answered. Because I don't think you wanted to be in that part of it because we sure didn't. We celebrated, but we sure didn't want to be in that part of it. When you had women pulling plow like mutes, when you beat somebody to the point of death and, you lynching people and, raping them and raping women in front of the husband or the person that they love, snatching children away from. So slavery was nothing nice at all, as the line that what's the name tell that we were like apprenticeship. We was in an apprenticeship program, So yeah.
Juneteenth is a celebration of freedom, not a celebration of slavery. I don't let them get it twisted that slavery was an awful thing in part of our history, and so we're not celebrating slavery, but we are celebrating freedom.
Right, but we're not going to forget.
Right.
How we was when we had to celebrate when we celebrate freedom in the first place. We shouldn't have never been slaves or should have never been brought into slavery. I say because we weren't slaves when we were brought here. We was humanity. We were architects and planners and farmers and builders, and that's why they brought us here. and we knew how to farm and do all the other work. So I want them to understand that it's nothing. There was nothing nice about where we come from, and that was supposed to have been the end of slavery, burning, but there were people that still enslaved into the 1940s.
Well,
It's,
yeah, I
it's a
agree with you
history.
that. Well, I agree with that. Prison system is another form of slavery for black folks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
yeah,
It
yeah.
is slavery.
But well, I guess it's just officially with air quotes,
Yeah,
okay, for
yeah,
freedom. Yeah.
yeah. Supposedly, but that's why they put that 13-minute loophole in it. So you still not free, because you can, when they was doing convict leasing laws and had these slave laws and all of that put us in prison, and the prison population exploded after slavery, not during slavery.
Yep.
So yeah, we want them to understand what Juneteenth is all about. So it happened. The truth of the matter is, slavery is still not over.
Right.
Anytime you can leave a loophole, it's not over.
Yeah, and
And for
I do think, Jerry, and because that's why we celebrate Juneteenth, so we can educate. We think this is an opportunity where we can, at no other time of the year that we have an opportunity, we can educate people about Juneteenth. When if, we have on the television station, I got 3 or 4 national specials that I'm playing about Juneteenth. Throughout the whole month, it just is another, just like we do for Black History. We got to do Juneteenth just like we do in Black History. Is that this is at least the time of the year that we can specialize in trying to educate people on its intent and its purpose. Even though I think that should be every day of the year, but unfortunately it is not.
yeah, I say it so many times. We can't wait for somebody else to educate us.
Yeah.
We have to do that, because you can't educate. I was talking to someone other day when I was on Blab TV, talking about African American history and stuff. We can't wait for somebody else to do that. That's that's not going. It's not going to ever happen. Until we do it. And we are the one, we have to teach our children and grandchildren and generation yet unborn about the history of what took place, how we were stolen from us a land and put into chains and put into, families, structure and everything else. Everything we knew was taken from us, and the markers are still on our DNA. So we definitely have to do that. We have to make sure that our children and grandchildren and children's children know the truth about what took place. Other than that, we will regress right back into where we came from. I'm through with my rant. Okay, Derek.
So as we have just a few moments left, I wanted to see if everybody was familiar with the controversy of the billboard that's going on in South Florida, that's got all the folks in uproar in South Florida. And I just really want to show it to you. So if you aren't familiar with it, this is the billboard, and it's in Miami.
No
right?
dictator. Yeah, man.
No a los dictadores, no a Trump, right? In Spanish, right? And it's got Donald Trump juxtaposed to Fidel Castro. And boy, it has incensed
that was genius.
Cuban American community in South Florida. They are as hot as fish grease down there.
That was genius.
They have blocked off major thoroughfares and find it insulting. Do you think that this billboard is appropriate? Do you think we should have more like them across the state. What say you are?
It's
Who put it up there?
It's the Mad Dog.
PAC.
It's a PAC.
A
It's
PAC.
the Mad Dog PAC.
It's genius.
Yeah.
A Democratic Mad Dog PAC?
Yes, it's a Mad Dog PAC.
Well,
We don't. It's not necessarily sponsored by the Democrats. It's a PAC. Anybody can have it. They just raise the money and put it up. So I don't know who is behind the PAC, but it's a PAC.
And it's
focused on anti-Trump stuff going on with us.
Yeah, it's long overdue. We need them all over the country.
That was genius, man. I'm telling
you. Him and Putin, him and Lil Kim, because those are the people that he loved. Kim wrote him a love letter.
That goes to the heart of the issue, man. That's genius.
Right.
I love it.
Okay.
Those are the people that he loved. Let's put him up with him.
Right.
Who he is. Sure, what say you?
I love it. I think that more messages like that need to be out.
They're coming.
Yeah. I've been very critical of the Democratic Party about their messaging. So what speaks to that group of people needs to be out there and amplified so that they get it, because you can reach different people by speaking directly to them. So that is a great campaign for that group of people. I'd like to see more for other groups across the board.
They should put them. They should put them in English. Why just?
No, they want to reach that Spanish population.
Well, hell, you better be reaching some of us. Better be reaching some of us.
But Florida, being purple, needs to reach that population, bro. I'm telling you,
I agree.
Did that perfectly.
I agree, but
no mistake
that
about it. They might not be able to speak English, but they understand what they're saying, brother, because they have come here fleeing those regimes, man. That's genius.
I agree with you, but I still say that message, that billboard should be in English all across the state of Florida.
It should be in both, but it most definitely needs to be there in Spanish, man. I lived in Miami. That's genius.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. A lot of the Hispanics in the South Florida area, because that's where they migrated from Cuba, from Cuba to there, but they're sympathetic towards the MAGA world, as opposed
some
to
of them are, but a lot of them there aren't from Cuba though.
Yeah,
and those are the ones they're trying to reach. They're not trying necessarily after that Cuban, because you're right as far as them being sympathetic to the Republicans, but man, there's a lot of Spanish-speaking folk that are not from Cuba.
But that's a good point, Bill. You're right. There's a lot of other Spanish-speaking people there are not from Cuba, and that's why they got them upset then.
Yes, yes.
People from Venezuela, South America,
Guatemala, all of that, man.
Whole area down through there.
Mexico, all of it. Yes.
I stand corrected. I agree then. I agree with you.
I'm gonna do my book. I know it's time for us to go.
Sure is.
It's Before the Mayflower with history of Black America. With this is Lerone Bennett. Lerone Bennett Jr. Before the Mayflower. I know some of you probably all have read it. Where do we go from here? Martin Luther King. I bought me another book to read on here, and also Slavery Again and Its Aftermath. I think people need to definitely read that, and it's by Peter I. Rhodes. So that's a good book to read. I read it years ago, but it's still a good book to read because it tells you all about some of the history of it. But then there's better books as well. Lerone Bennett got another book called Forced into Glory. That book, I think, should be required reading.
Did you ever get your book from the gentleman that we had on the show from your hometown?
Matter of fact, he sent us the books, and he autographed I got them here at home. I was intending to bring them other night and forgot them again. He gave everybody on the dais on the show a book that was on before you, Sharon.
Good.
I had to give you that.
Well, certainly we appreciate you joining us this evening. We will bring you more candidates, more great conversation next week, same time, same channel. So on behalf of the host and our executive producer, Mr. Jerry McIntosh, we want to thank you for tuning in this evening to another successful show of Our Voices, and we'll see you next week. Have a great week, everybody. Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.